Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, Batu, and welcome back to the finale of the Pokemon Black Plush Lock. This journey has been so fun. I honestly think I might prefer this more than the Crystal one, just of course with Black and White being my main game, and that's been great. I have more Pokemon to actually use on my teams than I probably would have if it weren't for it, but it is super fascinating to see how far we've gotten. The teammates we've used. It's been a lot of fun, so I'm happy about that. But we did defeat Drayden last episode, and now we're going to be joined by Professor Juniper. Okay, hello there, Professor Juniper, of course. She's going to tell me about the fact that we had started in November Town, and now we have made our way, completing the 8 gym badges, and can now move on to the Pokemon League. But of course, there is going to have some issues before we do that. We will show that off in a bit. Of course, we get a Master Ball as well. On the way over to the Pokemon League, we're actually going to be stopped by our best friends, our childhood friends, Sharon and Bianca. And I'm going to be so honest, I'm super scared about Sharon. I brought my boy Larry here because I knew that he had a pheasant. I just don't have anything that can really handle a pheasant since we lost Boldore. And I'm kind of scared to bring out my big bug rock boy out as well. So we are going to get a pheasant out with this. Samurott is also another scary one. However, I am going to keep the risk with Larry. And I forget that Larry is also part ground type. I don't know why I forgot about that. But one Aqua Tail was enough to just take out Larry. That sucks so late to the end of the game because Larry honestly could have been a really funny Pokemon to use. I'm not going to lie. That would have been a real funny one to use. But they are not going to be able to survive. Super sad, but you know what? It's just something that we got to get through, so that sucks. We're going to go into our boy Dream. The only time you'll ever hear me talk about Dream in a positive light, at least this stream for sure. And we're just going to keep on side beaming until we potentially get the victory here. Samurott does go down. That is very thankful that they don't have X-Scissor or Mega Horn. That would have been really scary. But luckily he does not, so we are able to get out of there. And now we're going to be facing off against Leapard. We go into our boy Muppet, who I honestly think might have become the leader of this team. He has been insane ever since we first got him. Semi-Seer is going to be out next, so we're going to send out our girl Jelly. And with that, Jelly should be able to just kind of knock this out, I believe. And no, okay, so we got potentially a low roll there because I do believe she should be able to knock out for the most part. Paralyze is also not going to be very helpful. Link is also very scary because now it's doing a lot of damage, twice the paralyzation. We're just going to go out into Johnny C. That way our girl Jelly is protected because we don't have any water types that could potentially be useful besides her. So we need to make sure that Jelly is surviving this whole encounter. Which she does, and thankfully we have fully completed our rivalry quest with our friends. Bianca and Sharon, they will no longer be challenging us because we are off to bigger, and I don't want to say better, but more dramatic battles than just them. It is very nice to at least spend some of this time with them before we go off into the league. And after going through all of these doors and getting the legend badge, of course, we can now head into the big stop that I talked about, that being Victory Road. And only in one encounter are we actually needing to get anything in Victory Road. That, of course, being Dino. And Dino is going to be a crazy Pokemon. However, I don't know if I'm actually going to be using it on my team. He might be in the finale part before that. But I don't know. It's just because I think I'm going to have the level cap at 55. And then after that, not really using anything to get them higher up. Because if you guys don't know, I've been pretty transparent about it. I have been using rare candies since the beginning. But that is just kind of the battles that I've done. That way I don't have to keep on grinding for hours at a time. Able to get through the whole game. It's a Nuzlocke. I want to just do that and just go buy the movesets. But we are now here at the Pokemon League. But we still got some stuff we got to do. Such as evolving some of the Pokemon that we already have. That being, of course, Todd evolving into a Mienshao. Belmont, who's one that I'm really excited to have, is going to be evolving, of course, to the boy Bisharp. And then we're going to have Enchilada evolving as well. I didn't get to use Enchilada. I really wanted to. I just decided not to because she didn't really fit too well. But Enchilada evolves to Chinchino. We have a Corpse evolving into Chandelure. I didn't have any of the other Pokemon besides the Chandelure, so this works out perfectly for me. So that is definitely nice. And then Krampus as well is going to evolve. I got Krampus the Dino earlier in the episode, and now he's already a Hydreigon. Like I said, don't know if I'm going to be using that. And then one more encounter before the end of the game. It is a Alola Mola. I didn't know that Alola Mola was anywhere in the area. I just kind of forgot about Alola Mola, I'm not going to be honest. And after a bunch of Ultra Balls failing, we threw a Timer Ball, got her, and we're going to name her Lilo. So Lilo is our final main encounter. We are back at the Pokemon League, and I think it is time to go and fight them. And now he is preparing me, telling me there is no going back as soon as I step into those doors. So with that, I think it's time to figure out exactly who we're going to be dealing with when it comes to this. But I do want to show off the team so far. This team has been amazing. A lot of these Pokemon I've had since the start for the most part, and some of them joined a little bit afterwards. However, a lot of these Pokemon have been so helpful. Of course, you just saw our starter. We have such helpful teammates, so I'm super excited to use them. Our boy Dream has been great, so I'm happy to have him on the team. And then we, of course, have the rest of the squad. This is going to be probably the hardest challenge I think I've had. Black and White is harder than Crystal in my opinion, and that's saying a lot considering we defeated the champion of all champions, Red. But we are going to save, as you should always do, for big battles, because only you can prevent lost save data. Even though I strongly dislike the person that came up with that, it is still some really smart advice to go for. And now we can officially challenge the Elite Four. Of course, we're going to be starting off with Chantel, the Ghost type trainer. Chantel is really cool. I really like this Elite Four. A lot of Elite Four in this has character, and I find it really awesome. We're starting off, of course, with Belmont, the teammate that you saw just a few moments ago. This is going to be a really cool Pokemon to use. I loved using Belmont. I actually had a Belmont the King Gambit in my first ever Scarlet and Violet playthrough, which I actually have on my Instagram. If you guys want to check out my Instagram, at @2playspokemon, that would be very nice and very helpful to me. But yes, it's going to be so cool using Belmont, because Belmont, as just a Bisharp, is super strong already. The fact that they gave it King Gambit afterwards is crazy in my opinion. And yeah, I just can't stop saying the praises, honestly, of Belmont, the Bisharp, or just Bisharp in general. We're going to go on Jelly, and we're going to use our one water gem we had, because that was kind of going to be one of the Pokemon I was really scared to get out of it. I am very scared of Golurk, especially because the two Pokemon that I think can actually handle him, I think for the most part wouldn't be able to do too much to him, or they would, but they would take some hits and heavy hits of damage. And now that we have Chandelure coming out, we're going to go into Jelly. This is going to be, honestly, something that I mistakenly did. I thought Jelly was going to be the best one, which you guys will find out why I was not thinking. And that was just obviously Fire type. Surf should be able to kill it. It does not, and it did a lot of damage. And we, of course, go out to the better idea, that being, of course, Johnny C. Critical hit is still super scary though, so we're going to have to be very careful with that. We won't be able to use them anymore, but luckily that was the end of the battle, and we have Hyper Potions. Of course, with these battles, I'm going to not heal. With at least these, I'm still very hesitant on whether I'm going to be enacting that rule or not for the ending fights. We'll figure that out as we go. But with that, Chantel is now defeated, and we can move on to the second Elite Four member. The coolest part about this is the fact that you don't really have a specific Elite Four that you have to go through. I love the fact that you get to pick your own. That, of course, starting with the Black and White gyms. But now we start with Grimsley next, and Grimsley is going to be the Dark type specialist. Special for me because I love me some Dark types, and Grimsley was so cool seeing in the Sun and Moon playthroughs. But we're going to have Scrafty starting it off against our boy Muppet. And of course, we're going to try to get out as many of these full stores as we can. I just decided close combat because it's at least one restore gone. But now that we're kind of defenses down, I am going to actually switch out and go into Jax. Because while I'm going to be honest, I don't think Arm Thrust is going to be very helpful for us. It is at least going to be something that we can use. But we are just going to mainly use Heat Crash just because I think Heat Crash will probably be better in the long run. Next up, they're going to have Crocodile. Crocodile being a very, very scary Pokemon to have. We're going to go into Jelly, but this is also still super scary because Dark types are strong against Ghost types. And you can see that the Foul Play kind of wrecking her pretty badly. But it's okay. Jelly is okay. And now we only have one more Pokemon to deal with. We're going to go into Muppet one more time, and with that, I believe for the most part, we should be safe to just one-shot this guy, especially with those 4-time weaknesses. It was best for us. Like I always say, Muppet is the leader of the squad. He has to be considered the leader of the squad after the showing he has been putting off since we started with him. I'm super happy he's made it this far out, because Muppet has been the one that I've been wanting to use a lot of. I just never got to use one end game. I would always use it for like the Lenora battle, and that was mainly it, maybe a little bit afterwards. But the fact that we got to use our boy in a full playthrough has been amazing. And I don't think he's really been switched out too much for actual gym badges. I think maybe once or twice for like the most part out of the 6-7 gym badges he was here. He just wasn't for the first one. That is very impressive for a Pokemon on my team. But now it is time to battle Caitlyn. She's going to start with Uniclus. Like I said, this whole Elite Four has so much personality in my opinion. The way they look, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they act. And it's so cool. We're going to get both full restores out automatically, which I am really happy about. And we're actually going to get a critical hit, so we're not going to have to deal another extra Night Slash, which I'm also very happy about. So we're going to keep on going with Night Slashes with Beaumont. Beaumont's just going to be destroying this whole Elite Four for the most part, which is really happy. I'm super happy I decided to bring it with me because Crocodile would have been nice. However, there's going to be some Pokemon Crocodile probably wouldn't have been able to take out by himself. Which, speaking about that, let's go into our boy, Johnny Cage, to take out Musharna. We've had enough done with the Belmont, so I think he gets to take a little breather for a second. And with that, we can actually head and continue fighting this. Musharna Crunches will do the job. Luckily, Johnny C is still very strong, so he's going to take on the Sigilyph as well. Sigilyph being the last Pokemon on her team as well, and he was able to one-shot, which I'm really proud of him for. That's awesome to see. And with that, we have defeated the third member of the Elite Four. But now, that leaves one more battle, and then we are done. We can go and challenge whether that be N or Alder or whoever may have made their way to the Elite Four before us and made their way to the championship before us. This is going to be an awesome ending battle. Marshall has always been the Pokemon that I've been really scared to face off against. He is a crazy trainer. I have either wiped or lost a lot of Elite Four battles in my heyday to him, and we don't really have anything that can really destroy his fighting type trainer, so he's going to be very scary. But we are still going to make our way through here. Throw did a lot of damage to Jelly, and we were not able to get the one-shot before the full restore. That really, really sucks because that's just going to mean that she's out basically for the rest of this Elite Four battle, which I was really hoping to use her for some of the other fights in here, but that's okay. We're just going to go for Flamethrower, and with that hope that we're able to take him out. Did not, but we get that final free restore, and with that we are able to Flamethrower him twice more and end his throws. I don't want to say life. We fainted throw, but now we're going to have to ego him a little bit with our Muppet versus his Sock. Of course, it's going to be kind of an unfair battle, but you know what? Brick Bake does the damn thing, and now we only have to deal with, I believe, one more if I'm not mistaken. Scratch that. No, we got to deal with two more. Definitely got to deal with two more. We only defeated his Sock and Throw, which that's super funny how the fact that Elite Four has a Sock and a Throw, but you know what? The boy having a Sock, you gotta respect it. That's awesome. That is awesome. We were able to destroy Conkeldurr, and now we just have to deal with Mienshao and critical hit, U-turn, hit stream. I think this one was probably the most hurtful one, losing Dream this far into Elite Four. I didn't know that he had U-turns, so that really, really hurts. But still, it is nice that we were able to defeat him. I'm super sorry for Dream. Dream was one of the Pokemon that I was really hoping we would get through to the Elite Four. We just sadly weren't able to have that, but we are going to finish this off strong, and we are going to finish this game, if not for Dream, if not for Larry, if not for any of the Pokemon that we have lost on this journey, which we have lost a good few, sadly. This is where it all ends. And as we approach, we learn that N has defeated Ball and became the champion of the Unova League. His whole view on everything defeated Alders, and with that, he has now enacted his and Getz's plan to rise the kingdom, N's kingdom, from the ground, and now we are in the endgame. We were in there from the beginning whenever we started fighting the Elite Four. They had nothing to do with this, though. They're still not helpful at all in the endgame, but it is now time to approach and go and find N once and for all. Before we can do that, though, we are stopped by Sharon, and now Alder tells me we need to do this. Not just me, not just my plushies, not just my Pokemon, you and I. It is time to go and challenge N of the Pokemon Unova Elite Four. So now we make our way up to the kingdom. And from here, it looks like the sages are going to stop us. They do not want us to reach in per Getz's request. However, it's not the Elite Four, but rather the gym leaders that come to save the place. I find it so fascinating exactly how they do it here, having all of the gym leaders basically being part of like some government or like protectors of everybody. They have their own jobs, but also they do need to protect the people that live here, and it seems like that is what they intend to do. So luckily we don't have to fight the 7 sages. We can just move on. We're actually going to meet the sisters of N, and it is now time to get into the PC because we do have to let go Dream. I'm so sorry, Dream. You were an amazing teammate, and I am super sad that we're not going to be able to bring him with us. But I just feel like it's only right to bring Little Bug with us. If you guys don't know, Little Bug always sits on my shoulder whenever we're doing whatever kind of Pokemon plush videos or whatever it might be Unova related. So I feel like that would be the best final teammate. He's not going to be the strongest, however, he is at least going to be very cute. But potentially my favorite place in all of N's championship kingdom is going to be his room. It's such a melancholy and creepy place to be at, and it's super interesting to see how it looks. It is now time to go and face N, but we are going to be stopped by Ghetsis in the beginning. No, that Team Plasma needs. So he is fully prepared to do whatever it takes. And N seems like he is as well, so we can officially start this battle. This is going to be an insane fight. He is disappointed, but it's time to challenge him officially. And with that, he summons the dark Pokemon Zekrom, aka my favorite legendary Pokemon. He is the GOAT to me, and I'm super happy that we at least get to see him a little bit. It's still, even to this day, a decade and a half later, awesome to see. But as he comes, something stirs inside of the Lightstone being released. And the Lightstone, of course, holding the white dragon, Reshiram. And now both halves of the dragons have been awoken. However, this one will not be caught by N, but rather us. It is now time to catch our final Pokemon of the playthrough and completely finish this whole playthrough. I'm super excited to catch Reshiram. Of course, like I said, Zekrom is my favorite, but I do love Reshiram so much. Reshiram is one of the GOATs. And we got Little Bug out, and Little Bug is here and ready. I think a few bug bites should be able to do it, because that'll get it way low. Yeah, and while I do believe in Little Bug to defeat Reshiram all by himself, I think just using the Master Ball is going to be the best in Vast White Pokemon. I do like the name Vast, and I'm going to be honest, I could not think of any other name for Reshiram, so we are going to continue with that name and name him Vast. Vast is now part of our team if we would like to, and yes, we are. And while I love you, Little Bug, it was nice to at least have you walk over here and hang out with us, but it is now time to officially start the fight. He's going to heal our Pokemon, which I appreciate. Luckily, we didn't really need to be healed, but still very nice to have. Team Plasma's N, aka the Champion N, is here. He's going to throw out his Zekrom. I will, of course, be starting out with Vest, the Reshiram, and it is time to face each other. Dragon's Breath is super helpful, if you guys don't know. That's like the perfect thing that you need to do. You don't get to really do too much with this Reshiram for the Zekrom fight, because if you don't, you're going to lose your Reshiram really fast. And honestly, Reshiram just isn't the best against the rest of his team, which kind of sucks. But that is all okay. And then we're going to switch to Muppet, because he does have Caracosta. Muppet is going to get hit with a pretty strong waterfall, and he is also going to for Restore. That does suck for us, and then another Brick Break should be able to kill it though after. I'm surprised he didn't full restore again. I would have assumed he would have done that, but he did not. Next up we have Cling Clang, which we have not actually seen in any other battles. We're going to go into our starter, of course, Jax. And Jax is going to Flamethrower it. And with that, we were able to one-shot. That is excellent. Maybe I did kind of get Pokemon too high level. I'm going to be honest, I didn't see the level cap for the ending part. I thought they were going to be at the 55 levels. Sadly, it seems like they are not. But you know what? That's okay. They're in the 50s at least, and that doesn't really stop. Of course, we're not healing during this whole thing, so it's whatever. It is a thing that I just have to live with. If you guys say that this becomes a little bit null because of that, then that's okay completely. I understand that, but you know what? It's okay. It's just a Nuzlocke that has to do with Pokemon Plushes, so if I don't get over it, and if you don't get over it, I don't know what to tell you. But next up we are going to have Vanillix. We're going to go back into Jax. I'm very happy that Jax gets to do some stuff in this battle, because it does feel like he doesn't really have that leadership role that Muppet does, and I think that he deserved a little bit better. We should be giving him a little bit more of the sunshine, so we are going to do that. And then we also got to show off Belmont, of course, so we are going to go into Belmont. And with that, we are going to just Metal Claw. I am super happy that I brought him. The main reason I did bring him just for this whole thing was because of the Archeops and because of the Caracosta. I didn't need him for the Caracosta, but it would have been really nice if I did. And now we get to move on. N has been defeated, and he understands exactly where we're at now. And next, Getz's is going to approach us and insult his son, and this is the confusing part that happens, and kind of the betrayal that happens. Getz's did not care about N's goals and N's thoughts process. He wanted his own personal goals to be done. It seems like now that N is no longer useful, he is going to discard him. Our poor boy N. I understand you, man. I understand why you were doing all this. But obviously, Getz's was the mastermind behind all of it, whether N knew that or not. And now we have to fight Getz's. First off, he's going to send off Caprigas. We do have Vast on our team, and we are going to switch off just because Vast probably wouldn't be able to do too much against Caprigas. That's the hard part about this, which also is kind of the reason it does suck whenever he is up in front. We're going to go into Johnny C, but that Toxic is going to be very harmful. Protect is also going to be very harmful as well. He's going to protect twice, which I didn't even know you can do. I thought you could only protect once, and that's going to actually drain some more health a lot. But it's okay, because Johnny C at least survived a little bit of it, and we are going to try and crunch. Sadly, we did not take the full toxicity in effect. I thought we still had a little bit more. I thought it was going to be in red by the time it was time to actually switch out. That was on me. See, I am so sorry. He got fatality'd and I feel so bad. We can't worry about that right now because the biggest threat we're going to have, Hydreigon, is here. Hydreigon hits for a very powerful move. However, Dragon Breath is able to get the paralysis, which is well needed, because if it didn't and we lost fast, I honestly don't know what we would have done there. But thank God for that paralysis. That was a really lucky move on us. Next up in the battle is going to be Bouffalant, and with Bouffalant, we are going to bring out, of course, the MVP of this whole playthrough, Muppet. He did start to frighten me a little bit when we started losing some of that power. However, learning close combat really improved him, and I'm super happy with that, because now I know that if he can't one-shot something with Brick Break, at least he can with some of his other close combat moves. But wow, that is terrifying. Electros is out. That's another big one that I was definitely frightened about, because I believe even to this day, there's not really anything that can stop a Electros from actually destroying somebody's team and not having any weaknesses. And it looks like we are going to lose Belmont. Sadly, I didn't know what else I can do. At that point, there was just nothing that probably could be done. Somebody was probably going to have to get sacked off, and I think it was either going to be between Muppet, it was going to be between Jelly, or it was going to be in between for Belmont. With Belmont having the lowest health, I just thought it was the right choice to do. It sucks, but sadly, it had to be done. Next up, we're going to have a Seismitoad coming out as well. And now we're going to go into Jelly. We haven't used Jelly too often in this battle yet, but now it is time to try and do something with her. We are going to go for a Shadow Ball instead, and it does do a little chunk of health, not as much though. We're going to have to hope that the Surf hits, which is not. We're just going to have to go for another one, because like I said, there's not too many Pokemon that can handle badly a Seismitoad. And we luckily were able to survive, so that was awesome. And his final Pokemon, the one he killed, Bisharp, man, he is terrifying. But we're going to go into Jax, and now Jax is going to be able to Heat Crash and Flamethrower his way to victory. It is awesome to see that the final Pokemon defeated is the one we get defeated by our starter. And I am super happy to say we have defeated Ghetsis, and we have beaten Pokemon Black. Ghetsis is now going to be taken by Sharon and Alder, and from that, me and N are going to have some time to talk and figure out what happens next. With just little pixels, you can see the disappointment on his face with the revelation about Ghetsis not being who he thought he was. It is such a sad thing to see, but still, it happens. I say it happens. I don't know how many times I've had a father figure end up being a bad villain guy who wants to rule over a whole area. But it's time for N to take his leave. And with that, Pokemon Black version has been finished. Thank you guys for watching. This has been a very fun series, whether you're watching just the finale part, whether or not you're watching this in the full movie. If you are watching the full movie, please let me know, that'd be awesome. But yeah, this has been an amazing journey. We started this a few months ago, and now we have made our way completely defeated Pokemon Black version. I don't know what I'm going to do next, whether it's going to be Black and White 2 for a plush lock, if y'all want to see that, if y'all even want to see the plush locks at all still. It's been fun, and I really enjoy doing these kind of videos, and I want to start doing some more stuff that isn't just plush lock. I have some ideas that'd be really interesting, but I don't know, that we'll figure that out as we go through. I luckily have a little bit before I actually do my next part, but with N leaving on Zekrom, I think it's time to call it a day. Love you all, and hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day.